I made it. 3 streams this week, even though it's ridiculously slow. But I still found 3 stories for us to discuss today. And then, of course, at the end of the stream, as always, we'll do an Ask Me Anything. So thank you for joining me. Happy Thursday, basically my Friday, because, of course, I work on Sundays for Movie Math. Very exciting. Again, it's very slow in the movie industry and just in the entertainment industry overall right now. Hopefully things will start to pick up with the summer, but it's pretty weird. That's right, Chris. It's technically 4 streams because I did the live trailer breakdown on Monday for Deadpool and Wolverine. But that's right. And Heinz E-Adventures, I'm so glad you got your notification this time. I'm glad they were working. It's so nice to see everybody. Hey, Asensio. Hey, Mika. Hey, Jennifer. All right, let's get to the 3 stories. As always, please try to keep your comments and questions to the story at hand. At the end of each section, I'll be answering your comments and questions. And then at the very end, you can ask me anything that you would like for the final 10 minutes of the stream. All right, so story number 1. Hold on. Boop. So Mika asked me about this yesterday, and he was like, what do you think of the cast for 28 years later? And I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Because the news had broken right before I'd gone live, apparently, so I'd missed the headline. So we're talking about it today. All right, so 28 years later. It started out with 28 days later, then it went to 28 months later, and now it's 28 years later. By the time this movie comes out, it'll be around 20 years since the first film was released, with Cillian Murphy, now an Oscar winner. There he is. Sorry, Jennifer Aniston, we're covering you up a little bit there. There he is in the first movie. He wasn't in, it was 28 weeks later. Thank you. All right, so 28 days, 28 weeks, and then 28, now it's going to be 28 years. Hold on, let me fix my notes. So that's him in the first movie. It was one of his big breakout roles in the beginning, starting off his career. Now, a lot of people, when the cast was announced, were like, wait a minute, isn't Cillian Murphy going to be in the movie? Because he said he wanted to do it. He said he wanted to be in the film. But he is going to be an executive producer on the film. So that means to me that he'll probably have a cameo at the very least. So I think he's probably going to be in the film. I mean, if he's executive producing it, why not? Like, it just seems weird that he wouldn't be in it. But apparently he's not going to maybe be a lead, right? So the leads are Jodie Comer, Ralph Fiennes, and then Aaron Taylor Johnson. So we're going to talk about each one of them. So Jodie Comer and Aaron Taylor Johnson, by the way, are both William Morris Endeavor clients. Ralph Fiennes is repped by CAA. But whenever you have multiple actors who are from the same agency, you often think, were they packaged? And one of you sent me a very interesting article in Deadline today about how Hollywood packaging is evolving, let's put it that way. Whereas big stars are no longer what everybody wants. Studios and streaming services don't want big stars because they don't want to pay them. They say we don't need to pay them because the brand is what brings people in. And so this looks like a pretty cheap cast to me, to be honest with you. And I wonder if that's part of what brought it together. I mean, none of these people commands a particularly large salary. But then, of course, with Aaron Taylor Johnson, there's 2 things to discuss here. The first, obviously, is whether or not, as I can see many of you saying, does this mean he's not going to be James Bond? Well, apparently he can film this before he would potentially film Bond. But I really don't see him as James Bond. Let's see. I mean, I don't believe the hype, Let's see what the Broccoli's decide to do. But, maybe his team is hoping this will help him, right? They're like, look at all the work he keeps getting. But as Mika already said, getting ahead of me there, it's all Sony who's employing him for the most part. Sony loves this guy. Now, as you might recall, when he was in Bullet Train, the head of Sony was watching the dailies, and he said, who is this guy? He's great. And as I said at the time, because it led to him getting the role of Kraven, I was surprised that none of the people who worked for the guy who was the new head of Sony, why they didn't put their hand up and say, sir, that's Aaron Taylor Johnson. While he might be entertaining, he is not doing well. He's had multiple chances to break through in Hollywood, and it has not worked. So audiences don't care for him, sir. And that should have been the end of the conversation. But nobody was willing to say it. And so now this guy just gets more and more work over at Sony. It's not Tom Rothman, Mika. It's some new dude. Some new dude. Maybe he's the head of like Sony Film, but it's not Tom Rothman. So that's who just loves Aaron Taylor Johnson. Like he just thinks Aaron Taylor Johnson's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And he's the only one who apparently thinks it. But it doesn't matter because he keeps hiring him. So we'll see how Kraven the Hunter does. The trailer did okay. Maybe Aaron Taylor Johnson will be a late bloomer, and this Sony guy will be considered a visionary. But I think considering the fact that Aaron Taylor Johnson's had so many chances and it hasn't worked out, probably not. Just like everybody was like, hey, Ryan Gosling finally arrived with Barbie, but yet The Fall Guy is predicted to open like with just 33 million. Lower than What If is tracking to open at, which we're going to talk about as the third story of the day. So, unless there's always roles that are an exception, but for the most part, audiences are pretty consistent in how they feel about somebody, and they don't usually change their mind. All right. So he's for Sony. He was in Bullet Train. He's in the upcoming Kraven. And now he's doing 28 Years Later. Now, this is going to be this whole trilogy is going to be written by Alex Garland, who, of course, is sworn off directing because he can't take your hard questions of Civil War. But he's going to still be writing. He wrote, I believe, the first movie. So he's going to be writing this trilogy. And then Danny Boyle will direct the first film, and they want to film it back to back with the sequel. Even though it's going to be a trilogy, only the first two films apparently are going to be together. And Nia DaCosta, she survived from the Marvels situation and got this sweet gig. She better deliver because I think, I don't know if she's going to get many more opportunities. I'm glad that she did. I'm glad she got this opportunity. While I didn't think that everybody agreed that Candyman didn't really come together, the Candyman remake. However, I thought that her directing was very strong with the Candyman film. I didn't quite sense a strong sense of directorial ownership in the Marvels, but I thought the film was not that bad. I thought it was fine, I certainly didn't think it deserved the treatment that it got. And so I'm glad that she's gotten another job. And I think she's actually, based on her work on Candyman, I think she's really well chosen for this. So hopefully she rallies with this film. She has something else that she's doing with Tessa Thompson, which was one of the reasons she wasn't totally always available to work on the Marvels, as you might recall. So maybe if that film hits and this film hits, she'll be able to get back on top as one of Hollywood's potentially top directors. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I think there's definite interest in the film. I think the cast is only medium though, but again, you're only going to go because of 28. It's 28. Either you like the 28 brand or you don't. I mean, really, to me, it's interesting. Even though those are the actors, I think what's selling this new trilogy is the brand and the behind-the-camera talent. You're going to see the new Danny Boyle. Even though I didn't like Civil War, I still know that Alex Garland is an interesting person. So, an interesting talent. So I'd be interested to see what he does, especially in a genre space like this. And then again, as I said, I'm rooting for Nia DaCosta. Jodie Comer, I really liked her when she broke out in Killing Eve, but I feel like it's taken too long. And now she kind of seems like, she's had too many flops, too many almost got a role but didn't. I just kind of feel like, her moment is past. And now she kind of feels like leftovers. Although, to be fair, so did, oh my God, I'm blanking, Vanessa Kirby. I even knew that she was I think that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is different, Mika. Phoebe Waller-Bridge wrote herself out of a career. Phoebe Waller-Bridge was on top of the world. She had these photos of her having so many Emmys she couldn't even carry them. But then she wrote such unlikable roles for herself, not only in the Star Wars universe, but I think the final nail in the coffin was what she did to Indiana Jones. She was just awful there. I would be surprised if she worked again. I loved her in Fleabag. But I'm sorry to say, dislike her as a talent. I would never hire her. Not to say maybe she couldn't hire, maybe she'll get something and we'll all be like, oh, she is great again. But I personally, as a producer, I wouldn't want to get anywhere near her. Also, after she tried to torpedo Mr. and Mrs. Smith to the point that that's right, CM, that she had to leave Mr. and Mrs. Smith because she just couldn't get along with Donald Glover. And then it turned out so great without her, and Donald Glover was clearly right. I mean, it's just, I just wouldn't want to get anywhere near her. But anyway, so yeah, and then Aaron Taylor Johnson, I don't care what Sony thinks, the guy's, not a star. And, Ray Fiennes is good, but, Ray Fiennes doesn't sell any tickets. I think he's been in some big things, but he's not, he's been in some small things as well. I don't think he's, I don't think, anybody's going to go and pay to see Ray Fiennes specifically. So CM says that Fiennes brings prestige. Maybe, but again, I don't think you need that because you have the fact that you have Garland and Boyle. I mean, it's Garland and Boyle. Do you think any of these will be zombies, Liam? I don't think any of them will be zombies. That'd be interesting. I think they're all going to be dealing with zombies. I'll be curious to see what it's like 28 years later. What is the world like 28 years later after a zombie apocalypse? Interesting indeed. Let's see what they came up with. You guys really want a poll? I'm not even, okay, it's too early. You haven't even seen a trailer. So, all right, let's do a quick poll since you want it so much. Hold on. Why are you excited for 28 years later? All right, the cast, the brand, the franchise, the behind the scenes talent. And then, fourth and final, I'm not excited. All right, hold on. Okay, anyone can vote in a poll, by the way. Only members can chat, but anyone can vote in a poll. All right, we'll just give it a moment. While you guys are voting, does anybody have any questions or comments about this project? Oh, hey, Sarah. Any questions or comments about this? Liam, you talk about, whether or not, anyone's seen the original movies. I think you really only need to see the first one. I remember seeing 28 Weeks Later, and it was mostly in space. It was okay, but it didn't seem like it was all attached to the first film. Derek, I don't feel either way about the franchise. I mean, I'm like, oh, cool, a franchise. And I like, high concept stuff. Again, I would only be going for Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, just because I respect them as artists. Elise, it doesn't seem to have a release date yet. I checked right before we went live, and I didn't see it mentioned. Sean says that you hope it sticks to its low-budget roots. That's a great point. I hope it does as well. I can't see anybody giving Danny Boyle too much money, to be honest with you. Or Alex Garland. Neither one of them have particularly strong box office. Oh, Lady Tourmaline says, what is packaging? Great question. Packaging is when, instead of a studio putting a project together, usually a talent agency will put together a package themselves. And they will go to a streaming service or a studio with a TV show or a movie, and they'll say, it's ready to go. It's got the script, it's got the writer, the director, and 1 or 2 stars, and they're all represented by us. And so we would like you to pick this up. And the article today was on Deadline again, was talking about the fact that in the past, packages with major stars would go straight to pickup. But now, if they get picked up at all, the studio or streamer is saying, well, maybe we'll make it. Let's put it into development. And, usually the people who are attached to these major packages aren't used to getting notes. And so that's one of the problems that they're dealing with. Liam, Rose Byrne was in the second film. I like Rose Byrne too. Hey, Zay, thanks for gifting a membership. All right, let me close the poll and we'll go to the next story. All right, hold on. Here we go. My pleasure, Lady Tourmaline. That's so polite of you. All right, so why are you excited for 28 years later? 46% of you are not excited. Uh-oh, yeah, don't give Danny Boyle a lot of money. That's weird they signed on for a trilogy. Maybe Sony should have just done one more movie. And that's, they said if they're shooting 1 and 2 back to back, that would still not take up too much of the talent's time. 34% of you are excited for the franchise itself. 13% of you are excited about the cast. Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to do a follow-up poll because I didn't expect that. Well, only 4% of you are excited for the behind-the-scenes talent. Okay, so start a poll. Which of the cast members excites you? I must know. Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson. One second. Hey, Manco. Let's see here. Rafe Fiennes. And then all of them. Yes, Ivan, your polls were a good idea. All right, so again, anybody who's watching can vote. You don't have to be a member to vote. Hey, Yessie, I'm glad you made it to the stream. J. Jonah Jameson, that's a perfect negative attitude for you. I love it. I only have 4 things, so I can't say you're not excited for any of them. All right, hold on. Hey, Neil. Or Nail in the Fashion. Oh, that's the name. I always you have such a striking profile picture. I usually pay attention to that more than anything else. I always see your comments, Nail in the Fashion. Nail in the Fashion is one of the most prolific commenters on BTT videos, which I really appreciate. Sean Turner says Naomi Harris had a great role in the first film. Wow, she's been around for a long time, right? And then Wiki Nomad says, I'm ready for the Nia DaCosta redemption. Me too. I believe she's a great director. All right, hold on. I'm closing the poll so we can get to the next story. All right, Jodie Comer with 36%. She's still got fans. You guys are like, leftovers indeed. She's still fresh. Aaron Taylor Johnson at 26%. Wow, he has his fans. Rafe Fiennes at 22%, and then all of them at 14%. That's pretty good. I think it's a weak cast too, Film Fanatic 10, but some people like it. So let's see how it does. All right, hold on. All right, so that's the first story of the day. Story number 2. Boop. Okay. So it was announced this morning that Jennifer Aniston is doing a remake of 9 to 5 with Diablo Cody scripting. Now, the first thing I have to say about this is that it couldn't have been announced on a worse day, because I don't really think it's a good idea to do a black comedy about women in the workplace, considering that Harvey Weinstein just got acquitted on his New York case. So there's nothing funny about that. Now, the reason Harvey Weinstein is staying in jail is because he's still convicted in Los Angeles. Hey, Mr. Pickle Pop. But we have so many really crucial cases right now that are going before Supreme Courts and appeals courts. I think that the fact that Harvey Weinstein was given an appeal, it was granted for a retrial. I can't believe that it was, to be honest with you. But it just goes to show, because there are bad actors out there, that you have to do everything by the books. That's so often talked about in the movies, right? It's become almost a cliche. We're going to do this by the book. But you can see why it's so important, because if you have any kind of problem at all, it can be used to overturn the verdict. So you gotta do it by the book. If there's anything that the other side can point to, it could undo everything that you've accomplished. And that's exactly what's happened with the Harvey Weinstein situation. It was, again, a court of appeals, so you had multiple judges. It was a 4-3. And, parts of New York State are very conservative. Thank you, Drago NYC. But still, I don't understand how they could overturn something that was so open and shut in terms of appalling behavior on the behalf of Harvey Weinstein. Predatory, egregious, disgusting, just absolutely horrible behavior. So, 9 to 5 was a movie that came out, I believe, like 1980 or something. And it starred Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, and Dolly Parton as 3 women who worked for Dabney Coleman, who treated them just absolutely horribly. But not to the degree that, women we've discovered, thanks to the Me Too movement, are actually being treated. So, hey, Stepstone Star, I'm glad you finally joined. So, in the movie, they each share their fantasies about what they would do to get revenge on their boss, most of it involving violence. And then the movie is about thinking that maybe that one of them accidentally carried through with it, and kidnapping their boss, etc. So and Diablo Cody, by the way, based on some of her films, I don't really think that she has the deft, balanced touch to be able to handle this. I just don't understand why anybody would make this film. I think it seems like an extremely bad idea. And also, there was a very good film about this called She Said that came out for awards season, I think 2 award seasons ago. Nobody saw it. It was about the New York Times investigation into Harvey Weinstein. It was an incredible film. So incredibly well done. No one saw it. And so I don't even know if there's an audience for this type of material. And I also wouldn't trivialize it. I think that it's still, I don't think you maybe should again, who knows where we'll be in terms of how we can discuss things in decades. But I certainly don't think right now that this is anything anybody should be joking about. And I don't know if anybody wants to see a serious film. If you're going to make a serious film about this, Bombshell also, by the way, was about this as well. I thought another good film, talking about the harassment, the really egregious harassment over at Fox News, and that didn't do well. So I think that, I don't know if people view these kinds of stories as entertainment. I think that, people obviously want to see justice done, and but I don't think I don't really know if this is something that people want to go to the movies to, something to treat as in any way as entertainment. So yeah, I'm surprised, I guess, they I don't know. I just really think it's a bad idea. J. Jonah Jameson, it's funny that you say Greta Gerwig can't save everything. I think Greta Gerwig would know that it would be a mistake to do this. Oh, Melita, I'm glad you liked She Said as well. I thought it was an incredible film. Not only, it's interesting. Civil War was supposed to be a movie about journalism, and I thought it was very negative about journalists, and I've never seen a journalist behave that way. Although, and I'm open to having, to seeing what, people are pointing to. I know some people feel that it's indicative of some of the coverage of the Israel-Palestine conflict. But, if you want to see a really interesting movie about journalism, She Said is an incredible movie about investigative journalism, and very much emphasizes, by the way, the importance of doing it by the book. They wanted to make sure that they wouldn't publish an article unless they could do it by the book, so that Harvey Weinstein couldn't come in there and tear it down. The whole reason it was successful was that it was so well constructed. They got him because it was so well constructed. That's right, Juan Carlos. Spotlight is also a great movie about journalism. And in fact, Spotlight and She Said are very similar films, in fact. CM says, what if Aniston played the boss and it leads into internalized misogyny? But really, who wants to make a movie about that? Women have enough problems. I don't think they need to make a movie. I just really see no path forward here. And I think that Diablo Cody is probably the worst person you could choose to write this. Especially after I saw Lisa Frankenstein. It's funny, a lot of you are bringing up Horrible Bosses, but I'd thought of that too. And Horrible Bosses, but that didn't deal with, I don't believe I saw Horrible Bosses 1 and 2, I think. And I don't think either one of them dealt with sexual harassment. MB Rolf is ready for the next story. Thanks for gifting a membership, 80s model. Does anybody have any questions or comments about this? Because, I just really wanted to say I thought it was a bad idea. And I can't believe it came out on the same day as... the infamous Kiki says the Horrible Bosses did deal with that. And I really thought this being announced on the same day as the Harvey Weinstein appeal was ridiculous. Hey, Nintendard. Little Baby Pizza says there's nothing to discuss. We all agree, open and shut case. Yeah, it's crazy that they can't see how bad an idea this is. Okay, so thank you guys. I did not remember, apparently, Horrible Bosses, what was it, 1 or 2? I didn't remember that. All right, story number 2. Here we go. Story number 2. Boom, baby. All right, I had a hard time filling the third story, so this is what I went with, okay? The third story of the day is the if tracking. That came on the board today, and I'm surprised they're able to say how they think this is going to do, because tickets haven't even gone on sale yet. When I saw that they were predicting this was going to open with 40 million, I was like, wow. I was like, let me see what ticket sales look like. And so I went on to Fandango to see what the sales were like. And I was like, maybe I better get my tickets if it's going to do this well. And it has not, it's not gone on sale yet. So let me do a poll on whether or not you plan to see If. Do you plan to see If in theaters? Hold on. Yes. Opening weekend. Yes. At some point. And then no, we'll watch at home. And then no, not interested. All right, again, anybody who's watching can vote. Only members can chat. So 40 million. Steve, you don't know what If is? If is the movie about imaginary friends. That's what If stands for. Imaginary friend. But probably If also means all the possibilities that could potentially happen. So yes, this is tracking at 40 million. Keep in mind that The Fall Guy, which comes out a little bit earlier, I think this comes out, yeah. It's The Fall Guy the week of May 3rd, then Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes on May 10th, and then May 17th is If. And Planet of the Apes, I think, is supposed to open with about 50. And then Fall Guy is supposed to do 33. And then this apparently is in between. I'm going to review it, Tabs. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. But yeah, 40 million. I would never have guessed this movie would be opening that big. You can see John Krasinski there at a Paramount presentation. He has an overall deal at Paramount. And if he can deliver this kind of an opening, he deserves that deal very much. And it would be amazing if he would be able to not only have A Quiet Place as a successful franchise, but if he were able to launch yet a new one. I mean, that's just amazing. And it would say that Ryan Reynolds maybe has some star power after all. Although Free Guy ended up doing really well. But, I think Ryan Reynolds, he's hit or miss at the box office outside of Deadpool. That's funny, Nintendo. I don't think Grimace is a villain. I mean, he might have poisoned some people with some shakes, apparently, but he's supposed to be a good guy. But yeah, so anyway, to me, I thought this was interesting. And that this very much, to me, looks like a live-action Pixar movie. Although I have seen, as Abdil Guzman brings up, it's very much Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Thanks for gifting a membership, Paralysis. I never watched that show, so I can't make that comparison. But I did see a number of people say that it was like Foster's Home. So it seems a little derivative, but it looks like that's going to be working. It might be like John Krasinski is crazy, is clever like a fox, and then it's derivative of things that people like. So I'll be very curious to see if this does well. I mean, it doesn't seem to me to be on anyone's radar. It hasn't done particularly strong as a trailer, the performance. I don't see it doing that much on social media, but apparently everybody's going to go see it. Maybe it's just right in that sweet spot. Where everybody's like not offended, so people want something to go and see. So that's incredible to me. Rogue Frogger says, If will appeal to fans of Drop Dead Fred and Monsters, Inc. We're all grown up now. I got the same feels while watching the trailer for If as I did those two classics. You will be there opening day, Rogue Frogger. All right, let me see what the poll says. That's incredible. Oliver says the VFX look really good, kind of like Roger Rabbit. I said that the new Pokemon movie was a little bit like Roger Rabbit. In fact, Ryan Reynolds didn't credit me, but he actually quoted me or quoted a review on one of his late night appearances, that I said it was like, I forget what the movie, I said it was like Roger Rabbit meets something else. And he quoted that, so I was very proud of that. But anyway, the Pikachu, Detective Pikachu movie didn't do very well. So do you plan to see If in theaters? 51% of you are not interested. 25% of you will watch at home. So yeah, again, it's not like all of you suddenly said you're excited about this movie. 14% of you said you'll see it in theaters at some point, and 7% of you are willing to see it opening weekend. So that's just 23% of you. I mean, maybe you guys aren't the If fans that are out there, but that's just really incredible to me. Let's see. So I'll be curious. Does anybody have any questions or comments about this before we go to the Q&A? Daft Tool says, I can be excited at home. That's pretty funny, Daft Tool, and save some money. Thanks, CM. Yeah, it always makes me feel nice when actors, pay attention to stuff that I'm covering and talking about. Blair Wraith says, only if an A Quiet Place crossover could convince me. I'm very excited about A Quiet Place Day 1. I'll tell you that. Haunted Autumn says, someone in charge of the tracking might be unemployed soon. That's pretty funny. Juan Gabriel says, isn't this movie going to hurt Deadpool and Wolverine? You would think it would be crazy to have two Ryan Reynolds movies so close together. But I guess as Deadpool, he's got his face covered for most of it. To me, it seems like crazy that they're so close. It was even crazier when Deadpool and Wolverine was still coming out in the beginning of May. Wiki Nomad points out that the movie doesn't seem to have any divisive elements or like social commentary, so it could be, that's possibly true. Middle America might come out en masse to see the film, and it could end up blowing up. Yeah, King of the Cheviot Hills. Well, I love that because that is such an adorable picture that you have as your profile pic. Yeah, it's rough in the movie business right now. I'm just gonna tell you what's clear. All right, I think we're ready for the Q&A. All right, here we go. That's right, Remy. He'll make up for families not being able to see Deadpool and Wolverine by saying they can go and see If instead. Just tell your kids that's Deadpool. Your little kids will be like, wasn't Wolverine supposed to be in this movie? All right, Q&A till 3:50. You can ask me anything that you would like. CM says, Grace, do you listen to the Town podcast with Matt Belloni? It helps me stay in the loop about Hollywood almost as much as you do. Thank you. I do not listen to that podcast, but I do have a lot of respect for Matt Belloni as a reporter. Matt Belloni actually is no longer at the Hollywood Reporter. That's why he's at Puck. He used to be the editor-in-chief of the Hollywood Reporter, but, they reshuffled. They had, decided to have a change of leadership, which I thought was crazy because I thought that it was so well run under his leadership. But, I'm glad he landed at Puck, where I think he's actually making even more of a personal name for himself. Sorry, I'm putting on hand cream. He's making I better do it on camera. He's making even more of a name for himself, but no, I don't listen to it. I've tempted to subscribe a couple of times to his newsletter, but I think he's a good reporter. Probably, I think, one of the best out there. Blair Wraith says, if you were to create an imaginary friend, what would yours be? No imaginary friends for me. I'm a strong realist. Let's see here. Stardust says, how'd you come up with the name for your channel? I honestly don't remember. It was a while back, but I needed a new name for the channel. I started out with a channel called Review, and I ended up having to change it because there was some kind of argument with the place I've been working at in the past. And even though I was right, instead of continuing to argue about it, I just changed the name. And it was actually a really good idea. I'm really glad that I did. Jeff Blue says, do you think X-Men 97 is providing a roadmap on how to handle the X-Men without Wolverine as the lead? No, I don't, because there ain't nobody watching that thing, which I feel really bad about because it's so good. One of you said that maybe it wasn't very well advertised because people might have thought that it was a remake of the original show or something, which is, I think, very true because I was talking to someone right before this stream and I was telling them about X-Men 97 and they were like, oh, is this a remake of the original show? And I was like, no, it's a continuation. You don't know that? And I told them to go watch it. Juan, I don't think I'm going to watch Baby Reindeer. I think it might be too disturbing for me personally. But as I said, I'm certainly following the coverage of it, and I'm keeping an eye on. I think I think the cast and the creator are probably going to get something pretty big out of it. Bye, Bara. Jake Van Norden says, with all due respect to Pedro Pascal, with him being Jake feels that with Pedro Pascal being close to 50. What do you see for the future? But Reed Richards has gray sideburns. I think it's fine. Sorry, my contact. I got so offended on behalf of Pedro Pascal, I hurt my eye. No, I mean, I can understand. I know I can see why some of you are saying that, but I mean, he's playing a character who literally has white hair. So I think it's perfectly fine. Fantasy fan, I don't think I'm going to cover the Amy Winehouse movie. Ariel Knight says, I enjoyed your video game interview. Yeah, with Abu Bakar Salim. Thank you. Did you hear about the news of El Paso Elsewhere being turned into a movie with Lakeith Stanfield? Isn't that the one? I think he's behind it as well. I think, isn't he also behind the camera on that? I love Lakeith Stanfield. I met him once and he said he watched this channel. I don't know if he still does, but he said he watched my videos back when he was in Death Note. And so I liked him before, but now I always really like him. I'm like, that Lakeith Stanfield, what a guy. So I'm excited for him. Oh, thanks, Jazz. Jazz says, thanks for all you do, Grace. I absolutely love The Offer. Oh, you watched it. Hooray. However, when did Hollywood stop operating like it was presented in the series? I think the introduction of the tech industry has been a big thing about it. I think also Wall Street has, I think, more of an effect than ever. And also, I think, the digital age, I think that's what's taken a lot of, maybe more of the creative out than it should have. Also, Robert Evans was a very special, he obviously had some, he would have a lot of problems today with how he operated, but in some ways he was a very special executive who went, as you could see from that show, above and beyond for his talent. So, that also I think was a big part of it. Whew, hold on. Big Witch, I think I will review Maxine, but I don't think I'm going to watch any of the previous movies. I'm going to review it for those of us who want to just watch Maxine. What the Pop says, rarely make lives. It's almost 4 a.m. in Australia. Thanks for staying up. But thanks for everything you do, Grace. I start almost every morning with your videos. That means so much, What the Pop. Thank you. Let's see here. I Heart Movies. I'm seeing The Fall Guy early next week. That's my next screening. Jeremiah Rivera says, can you watch X-Men 97 without watching the first show? Oh, for sure. Definitely. Keith says, what new computer did you end up getting? I ended up getting a Mac Mini, and then I got whatever the screen is that goes with it. Not the professional pro screen, but the other separate screen. Oh, Diego says a lot of their friends also thought the X-Men 97 was a remake. Crazy. Hector Vega, did Lily Gladstone really get a new gig? Let me look it up. She did. With Bowen Yang. Oh, that's great. Good for Lily Gladstone. I was worried when she didn't win the Oscar that she would have a hard time keeping her career going. But I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed that she's, not only keeping it going, but thriving. I heard Under the Bridge was a good show. I might watch that. Hey, Danny, I'm glad you made it. Oh, hold on. I've missed some questions. I'm checking them. I love Bowen Yang. I'm a huge Bowen Yang fan. The Great Mr. Y. Hey, Mr. Great Mr. Y. Thoughts on Zack Snyder's potential Sucker Punch director's cut? Thanks for 3 lives in 2 days. Yeah, it's been a lot of lives, right? Because the Great Mr. Y was on the BTC Inside Access. Zack was so kind to me with the interviews that he gave me that I just, yay, Zack. I want to see him do well. Let's see here. Mecky Powell says, how do you think Captain America Brave New World and the Thunderbolts will perform, considering they're similar to Captain America 2? You mean like what? Winter Soldier? Well, Winter Soldier was great. I have high hopes for both those films. I really like the Cap corner of the MCU. I hope those films can deliver something of that quality. Danny, my next review will be The Fall Guy on Tuesday. Mary says, Grace, will you watch the season 2 of Interview with the Vampire? The show deserves more recognition. It's doing pretty well, isn't it? I don't know if it's doing well enough for me to cover it. The last couple of weeks I've been covering content, and you can just see that people just, it's hard to find something that people are interested in right now. And it takes a long time for me to do a review. So I don't know if I'm going to review that show, to be honest with you, but I think it does have a solid audience. All right. Alfie says, I just wanted to thank you for this YouTube account. I love watching all your videos, but just wondering what's your most thank you. What's your most anticipated movie of 2024? Deadpool and Wolverine, because I'm a big X-Men fan. But I am excited about Gladiator 2. I saw a headline that they apparently had a test screening in Las Vegas, and it tested very well. So I'm curious to see that movie. I'd love to see a great old school drama, or historical drama. Nintendo, I don't know why you can't send your super chat. It might have a blocked word in it. Sometimes I got a couple of words blocked, and it won't go through. Oh, Remy says it's really cool having watched your videos for so long and getting to work on a show that you review. What show is that, Remy? J. Jonah Jameson says, what are your thoughts on the Atlas trailer with Jennifer Lopez? I actually thought it looked pretty good. I didn't love that the movie seemed to be pro-AI. I'm very against AI. I think it's going to put humans out of work. But I thought the movie looked solid. I thought it looked good enough that it could be in theaters, to be honest with you. Let's see here. Mr. Magic said, aren't you supposed to be on vacation? Said, just made it to the ferry to cross over into Victoria, British Canada for you and Brian's 10-year anniversary. Oh, you're on the move. I love it. Paul Brunel says, why is there such low interest in TV right now? Well, if Fallout had been a weekly, I think that would have been getting more attention. But Prime Video is very happy with it, as you know, because they renewed it. I hope that the second season is a weekly. But I think people are kind of interested in Shogun, but there's just nothing really big right now. And I think, HBO has had 2 shows in a row on Sunday nights that just haven't really connected. First The Regime and then The Sympathizer. And Neka says, my coworker just looked at me and said, are you listening to your movie YouTuber again? Ah, ha, ha. Hey, Neka, say hi to your coworker for me. Say yes, and she says hello to you. Let's see here. Sean Turner says, can we expect a trailer for Nosferatu? Yeah, it's for sure at some point. I don't know. Oh, when can we? I haven't heard anything about that. Hey, Dolan says, I personally find the If trailer frustrating to watch. What is a trailer you never want to see again? Ooh. I don't know. I just wish they wouldn't play so many trailers in the theater. I'm like, I've seen all these, man. I just can't take it. It takes too long for the movie to start. One of the good things about screenings is that there's no trailers and no pre-show. They just start the movie, and you're like, excellent. Ramsey's Bad Batch finale next week. I know. I'm thinking of covering it, in fact, even though the interest in the Bad Batch has gotten so low that, it wasn't worth even reviewing in the first place. Stephen Turner says, loving your X-Men reviews. Thank you. Do you think you will read Jean Grey's upcoming Phoenix comic? Maybe. I read the other one where she was like, there was another comic where Jean Grey was like, she had died and come back or something, and I thought that was awful. So, I'll give the new comic a whirl. Look at JF saying, you're against AI, but not capitalism? That's right, JF. I don't want to see capitalism run amok. I certainly feel that capitalism needs to be controlled. But yeah, I certainly am in favor of an open market. I really don't see how you could be in favor of anything else besides capitalism. I have not seen any indication of any other way that works. Sarah says, do you think we will have Zendaya and Kirsten Dunst at the Oscars? Again, I said I felt that Zendaya, unless she's there as a producer, I think acting-wise, she's very good in Challengers, but she's just not as exciting as the 2 male leads. I do think Kirsten Dunst will get nominated, and I'm sure Zendaya will get nominated at some point. Oh, Brad, you're going to be a dad. Oh, that's so exciting. Congratulations. Woohoo. Blair Wraith says, I think you should watch X. The first shot is amazing, and it's a lot more tame than I thought when I first watched it. Also, I took your advice, and I went to Ray's when I was in town. Oh, you went to Ray's Pizza. That's awesome. It's very good. I hope you went to, there's a lot of them, but I'm sure it sounds like you went to the good one because you liked it. I don't know. I'm super squeamish. Oh, Louise says your coworker also asks the same. Thanks for taking me to work, guys. I feel very nice. Oh, Jamie says The Sympathizer is excellent. It's a shame people are not watching it. Oh, you're making me feel like I should maybe watch it. I agree, Elise. The Bad Batch Season 3 is incredible. I feel so bad that more people aren't watching it. Oh, Brock52, you barely made the stream, but you're here. Which X-Men 97 character are you the most excited, hopeful to see in Deadpool and Wolverine? Fully powered Rogue? Jubilee? Oh, I don't think you're going to see any of those characters. Again, I'm hoping for Cyclops. I'd love to see Cyclops done right. JF, I certainly respect your opinion, but I do not agree with you. You know, Jamie, you said you can't believe the Bad Batch is ending. But, you know, I'm sure they'll continue with Star Wars animation. Just like Clone Wars ended and then they did Bad Batch, I think they'll just come up with hopefully a new show. Because I really like Star Wars animation. Isaac says, couldn't Zendaya be nominated for Dune? Maybe in supporting. You know, let's see how tough the categories are. But that's a good call, maybe. Oh, look at everybody congratulating Brad. That's very sweet. Oh, I'm over time. I love talking to you guys. I always go over. Okay, shout outs. Where are you? What are you doing? Let me say hi. Even J. Jonah Jameson congratulated you. Even as a curmudgeon, he congratulated you. Keith says, I've done my first year of college in interactive media. Thanks, Grace, for inspiring me to pursue my passions. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so honored that I did. Ooh, CM, you're seeing David Sedaris tonight? I love David Sedaris. Oh, I'm a big fan. That's really cool. You're going to see him in person. Jay Got Milk says, is at work in Oakland, California, while Marcello is in London, where it's 9 p.m. Dallin's enjoying some pasta, delicious, while Manco is making chili for dinner in Chicago. Jazz Primo is in Oklahoma City, working in that area, working on a creative project. Ooh, that sounds exciting. Oliver is seeing Challenges tomorrow and is excited. Oh, you're going to have a great time. I think it's a really fun movie. Alex is in Disney World. Oh, my God, I wish I was there. You're going to ride the teacups. I'm glad we could keep you company online. Must be crowded if there's a line for teacups. Jamie says, counting the hours to watching Challengers in Panama. Oh, I hope you guys like the movie. I think it's really fun. iHeart Movies is in Ohio, about to watch a movie. Not sure what movie. Oh, there's some good choices out there. Diego is sick with a cold, but still at work. Oh, I hope I'm surprised. You know, I'm surprised your coworkers haven't told you to go home, not only to rest up, but I'm sure they don't want to get sick. But I'm glad you're pulling through, Diego, and I'm glad we were able to help get you through the day. Wiki Nomad is washing clothes and enjoying the stream. I love keeping you guys company while you're doing stuff. Ilya is in downtown Santa Paulo, surrounded by orange groves. That sounds lovely. Look at everybody telling Diego to feel better. What nice. How nice. What the Pop says, 4 a.m., time for bed. My cat is telling me it's time. I love how cats are I love it when pets act like humans. Your cat's like, let's go to sleep already, man. It's Colton Lee says, on my way to watch Challengers right now. First time going to see a movie alone. Oh, seeing a movie alone is fun. You can eat whatever you want, sit wherever you want. I go to the movies by myself as a reviewer, especially all the time, but it's really fun. I mean, I know it feels weird at first, but once you get past it, I bet you go again by yourself. Oh, let's see here. Your little brother Gabriel says, I'm going to a 25th anniversary special viewing of The Mummy. Oh, have fun. The Mummy is a great film. Let's see here. Lisa says, my pug makes me go to bed at 7 p.m. What? Your dog is quite the taskmaster, Lisa. Let's see. I'm glad you're getting rest, though, Lisa. I know you're working hard. Ivan Sarmiento says, here in Mexico, excited to see Challengers tonight. Everybody's going to see Challengers. What a party. Let's see here. Heather goes to the movies alone a lot and has a good time. That's awesome. And Elise agrees. Danny says, rough day at work in Guatemala. I had made some mistakes to watch the end of the stream. Oh, I hope we didn't cause an issue for you at work, Danny. You're such a nice person, though, Danny. I'm sure everybody at work will understand. Ilya also goes to the movies alone. Oh, it's great. Gorilla My Dream says, the Writers Guild of Canada just held a strike vote to force the producers back to the table. I mean, it's interesting to see Canada going through it, too. But good for them. Get that money. Let's see here. Lisa prefers to go to the movies alone. Yeah, it's fun. Nail in the Fashion says, Colton, it's so luxurious when you get an empty theater too and can be as loud as you want. That's funny. I haven't experienced that in a while, but it is fun. Liam says, just finished the night shift on the ED ward. After a public holiday here in Australia, I'm wrecked and reading Dune Messiah to wind down. What's the ED ward? But that's great, Liam, that you're working hard. No, I'm doing shout outs, Tiff. Let's see here. Oh, emergency department, because it's called ER here in the United States. Wow, that's amazing to work in the emergency department. That's really wonderful of you. Steve Quintanilla is working in his home office in sunny LA. Oh, that's great. It's pretty sunny here too, as you can see. And then Alex says, I use it as a therapy self-care on Sundays to go alone to the movies. That's a nice tradition there, Alex. And Tiff says, in that case, I'm in Colorado drinking a cold cup of water. Oh, good for you for staying hydrated. And CM, I'm so glad you enjoyed the stream. And Stephen Turner says, I love going to the movies on my own and taking myself out to dinner. I'm glad you guys are taking care of yourselves. And Tyler Rod says, in Philly traffic, about to head to New York. Oh, wow, that's quite the drive. Well, Targaryen Poppy is at the gym in Dallas thinking about food. Stay strong, Targaryen Poppy. And then Alberto says, one time I brought McNuggets to the matinee of Mr. Gregorium's Wonder Emporium movie because you had the whole theater to yourself. Yeah, I've seen people, I told you, like at the Godzilla screening, someone snuck in a whole Subway sandwich and was not subtle about it. But, I wish they had better food at the movies. If you go to the movies a lot, you get really sick of the food there. And so I wish they had more options. I mean, I know that there's stuff they don't want to clean up, but it's just really hard to find food to eat. You're like, but I don't want to eat that. And, but I want a snack. I think the combination of it's too much of the same kind of food, and then it takes so long for the movie to start that you don't want your hot food to get cold. It's just really tough. Oh, look, it's Stebbity watering their plants late in the day in Boston. That's so nice. Take care of your little planties. All right, everybody. And one last one. Gorilla My Dream says, I'm getting ready to go to a big monthly writers gathering called Ink Drinks tonight. Say hi to everybody for us. Have a good time. All right, I really must get going. I had a great time with you guys as always. I'll see you on Sunday for Movie Math. And then again, a whole new week of fresh content. All right, everybody. Bye. Bye. Bye, Zunigator. I'm glad I got to see you. Hi. Bye.